Hi, everyone. I'm Flora Pastorero.
And I'm Carrie Perry.
And this podcast episode, this is called Beauty After Bruises.
We are chick to chick.
All right, so some of you might be thinking, what are they talking about, beauty after bruises? This is a very, very serious subject, but there's a happy ending to it, so to speak. We're talking about adult survivors. We're not calling them victims. We are calling them adult survivors of childhood sexual assault.
Right, both men and women.
Yeah.
So it's both.
It happens a lot, and I'm surprised to hear about how many people have said to me that they were abused by someone they know when they were children, and this has affected them. They carry this into their adult lives, and you might not be able to see the physical scars from this, but the emotional scars.
Right.
Those are the things that haunt them, and it sticks with them. And of course it's going to stay with them. How do you ever get over something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, and today we're really fortunate because we do have a survivor who is going to talk to us today. So listen, if there's anyone out there who's listening or watching, I'm hoping that this person really helped them either bring peace, come forward, whatever that message is. I'm hoping that that's really going to resonate with someone today.
Yeah, and again, we're not calling them victims. They like to say that they are survivors. And the woman that we have on the phone, we're protecting her identity, but for this purpose, we're calling her Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
We're so glad you're with us today. I know this is a very difficult thing to talk about. We appreciate that you're willing to talk to us about it. Laura, what happened to you?
I am a survivor of childhood exploitation, which can mean a lot of different things to different people. Most commonly, it refers to things like child pornography films or images, any form of trafficking or selling a child for sexual favors, or taking any skills or talents that they had and exploiting them for financial gain to somebody. For me personally, I had exposure to pieces of all the above with some other trauma in the periphery. Outside of those circumstances, so it's pretty common for us to have a variety of exposure. Now, I know a lot of people think that as children going through this, we'd always be aware that this is horrific and we're living terrorized every moment of the day. But that isn't always the case. Both because it's often all we know. We don't know a life that could be any different and have been convinced that this is right and good. But with the way that the mind also protects itself through processes like dissociation, much of the really bad horrors are kept far, far away from our awareness the instant that we leave them. It's how we survive. And that makes it so that these crimes can very much happen in plain sight, even locally. And you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell by looking at the survivor. We don't always struggle openly, we laugh, and sometimes even excel. I happened to start really feeling the effects of the trauma and the secrecy of it all in my teens, from severely disordered eating, other self-destructive behaviors, not wanting to keep going at all. And unfortunately, a lot of the clinicians and treatment centers that I turned to were in no way equipped or educated on how to help someone with complex trauma. Some disbelieved any mention I made of it, called it irrelevant, just focused on the one area that they knew and understood and never deviated. So naturally, I got a lot sicker. But eventually, I came across a trauma therapist who recognized my symptoms immediately, got me into the proper trauma-focused care that I needed, and all the pieces started to fall into place pretty much immediately.
Laura, how old were you when all of this started?
I was very, very young. So I know for confidence that it was at least by the time I was 2 or 3, but to be honest, it may have started earlier. I just don't have, we don't remember much before that.
I can't wrap my head around it.
No.
I mean, I just can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's appropriate to say I'm sorry, but I am just terribly sorry that happened to you. It hurts my heart. I have all daughters. I hear in your voice this amazing sense of getting through what you were able to battle through. I can't even imagine it. But my goodness, thank you for taking what had to have just been horrific and being this voice to be able to help other people. I mean, really.
I don't understand how anyone could ever hurt a child. My brain just cannot process that. And so, Laura, when this was going on, was this someone you knew? Was it a family member, a relative? Who was doing this?
It's a bit complicated, but yes, it is somebody that I knew, and it's not uncommon for caretakers, oftentimes babysitters, people on the periphery, sometimes even a little bit more involved in that. But yes, it was definitely somebody that I knew and someone close to my family. Not in my family, but close to.
And while this was going on, did you think this was okay? Did you think this was normal? Did they try to convince you that this was okay?
Yeah, a bit of all the above. I mean, especially since I was so young, I didn't know life could be any different. So I kind of just thought everybody went through this. And I don't think it was until I had enough close friends who really didn't have any experience with that I kind of sat back and was like, maybe my life is not as normal as I thought it was. But I didn't know anything else.
Right, because she's a kid, and if this is what she knows, and you were talking about how you kind of compartmentalize. A person can go through, a young child goes through, and they're able to have a good day and smile and laugh with their friends. So if there's someone out there right now who is listening, and they are hearing your story, and it is either triggering or they know of someone who could be in this position, what will you want to tell them right now? If you've got that moment to grab their heart and really, give them some powerful information.
For one, there is absolutely always hope. I definitely didn't always feel it. I didn't believe it. I felt very alien and very distant and disconnected from the world. But once I found someone who understands, who didn't find me as different or dirty or bad, or just saw me as the innocent person that I was, a lot of the world turned around for me, and I could see that I'm not at fault. I'm just a regular person. I'm just me. I'm good old me, as I always had been. Just somebody else had kind of done some pretty cruel things. But I'm okay. I'm innocent. I'm all right. You're okay. We're all going to be okay. We just have to find the care and the treatment and the respect that we deserve in the people around us, and life can be okay. And there are people like us and Beauty After Bruises and organizations and therapists and people who really, really want to help and want to help you succeed and help you have a happy, trauma-free life that can be really, really great.
Well, Laura, we are so happy to hear that it sounds like you're doing very well, and you have survived what I just think is horrendous.
Absolutely.
Horrific. You were an innocent victim, and we're just so grateful that you agreed to come on and to share your story with us and to be so honest about everything that happened to you. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Absolutely. I appreciate the sentiment and the love. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. She
sweet.
brought up the second part of this conversation.
Yeah.
A new organization that's called Beauty After Bruises.
Right, and Kim McKonly, we ran into her when we were out at an event, and you and I did not know that this existed, and both of us were just like, oh my gosh, we have to talk to them. So Kim, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Yeah. I'm well, thank you.
Well, we heard from our survivor, Laura. She talked about your organization and how much you've been so helpful. Tell us about Beauty After Bruises.
Well, we kind of came about 4 years ago after meeting someone very similar to Laura and understanding that these folks need a tremendous amount of help. It's not just the love and the support, but it is incredibly financially burdening. It's very challenging to find a therapist who truly understands. And that's not to say that there aren't great therapists. There are. But if your forte is helping someone whose marriage is in trouble or has depression, it's really challenging to know how to help someone whose entire life was, in some ways, a bit of a lie, to help them dismantle all of that and then live in the present and rebuild a future. It takes a special kind of training and a special commitment. So we help them to find the right therapist. We help to line them with the right tools that they need so that they can reclaim that life that was kind of put on hold and interrupted as a child. And if possible, we also help with the finances because it's really expensive. Most of these individuals are either on Medicaid or Medicare. They don't have access to the best therapists. And when you're looking at a therapist who, they want $100 to $250 an hour, and you may probably have to see them 2-3 times a week, maybe even 5 times a week at first. And the average person can't afford that, let alone someone who has no income. So we kind of align all of those things to the best of our ability to get them on the path to wellness. Because as Laura said, it can be claimed. And it's a beautiful victory when it happens, but it really does take a team. You can't do it alone.
And Kim, you help women and men. Normally we hear about women who are victims, survivors of sexual assault, but this can happen to men as well.
Right.
And we need to point that out, that your services are available for both, correct?
Absolutely. And people do forget that the number of men, well, and we say little boys and little girls, truly, because perpetrators are not concerned about whether or not you are a boy or a girl or black or white or wealthy or not. They just need somebody who's vulnerable. And all children are vulnerable. And that's all they need, access and vulnerability. And if you've got those two, you are the perfect person for them.
Obviously, you must have something in the community that you do, events or things like that people can either get involved or go to. Do you have things coming up that we should know about to let the public know?
We do have a great website, too. Every year we do 4 events, a bowling event, the Party in the Park, a bingo event, and the High Mark Walk. And then we do a year-round event because there are many survivors who will never be able to access treatment. Even if we had millions of dollars, there are some folks who just live too far away from a skilled therapist and they can't receive what they need. So we put together what we call therapy in a box, and we send them the best things that we can possibly put together as far as tools, workbooks, journals, grounding tools, soft toys, things that help distract, and we'll send it to them. So we work on that all year, every day.
What's that called? Hope in a box?
To get involved.
Hope in a box?
What's
Is that what you called it?
Therapy in a box.
Therapy in a box.
That is
love that.
so tremendous.
That's great.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Kim, if people want more information about your organization, or maybe if they want to make a donation, how can they get in touch with you?
We've made it so easy. It is simply beautyafterbruises.org. And we are a project under the umbrella of the Foundation for Enhancing Communities here in the Harrisburg area. So they make everything possible for us. It's wonderful to be a part of them. But yes, you can go straight to beautyafterbruises.org. Our website is actually internationally known for our blogs. They are terrific. And I don't write them, so I'm not patting myself on the back. They're really, really good at helping survivors understand what they need to do if they're in a pinch and they need some distraction tools and grounding tools, and what do I do when it's Mother's Day and my mother was not so nice, or my father was not so nice on Father's Day. All of those, it's just wonderful. So head to the website and enjoy it.
Great. Hey, Kim, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing all of this great information.
Absolutely.
Another great resource out there.
How about it? It was good stuff. It's really hard to think about, and it's really hard to digest, but having an organization like that brings me hope that people are going to be able to get the help that they need, I hope.
Yeah, thank you, Kim. BeautyAfterBruises.org.
Yes, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Kim. Boy, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
It's really tough, and I really struggle with this because, it's just horrible, horrible to think somebody would harm a child in any way. They carry this with them throughout their lives into adulthood, but isn't this great that there are organizations and people out there who want to help?
Absolutely, and I hope whoever was listening today will really take this information, contact this wonderful organization, or if anything else, tell someone.
Yeah.
Tell someone right now.
Speak up.
Yeah.
All right. Speak up.
Yeah.
We also would love for you to speak up.
Absolutely.
Share your thoughts and comments with us. We are chick2chick at penwatch.org. We're also all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle, chick2chickusa.
And then, of course, any of the podcast channels. So you've got Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Play. I might have hit them all. I'm not sure.
You sure did.
So there you go. You can listen to us and you can watch us. The point is, just do it.
Just do it. Hey, thanks for doing it tuning in, watching,
right.
listening to our podcast,
appreciate
and we
it.
will be back soon to chirp about another topic.